Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday, the 1st of July, 2022. I am Dale Delbridge, Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. This is your status chat. Seeing as it is the 1st of July, that tells me with advanced mathematics that the 4th of July is just 3 days away. It is America's birthday. I wish each one of you a healthy, happy, and safe 4th of July holiday weekend. And if you choose to shoot fireworks off where they are legal, please do so responsibly because it's awfully dry in places and we don't want you to meet the news in such an unfortunate way as if we have a little fire incident. So what do you say we get to that middle segment? Well, welcome to the middle segment. Now, normally I bring you something as either OC, original content that I produce myself, or I'll bring you something from a story or something we picked from the internet that we want to talk about from a commercial source. And I always like to give you that link to that commercial source, the NBC or Forbes or Mortgage Daily, whatever it is, NAR. I want to give you that link to that article we're reading from and discussing so that you can get the whole thing at your leisure in the description of Status Chat on the YouTube page in which that thing appeared. Today's a little bit different. Today I have everything that I am bringing to you comes from the government, indirectly or directly from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is almost all of it, and some of it's coming from FRED, or the Federal Reserve Economical Data. That's coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics most of the time, and I have just two little calculations at the end. So they should be considered credited at this point. Now, for those of you who follow me, and if you're not, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't follow me, you should. So if you do, you know I don't like to be very real estate-y. I don't like to be salesman-y. I don't like to have that slick kind of presentation to you where I'm talking fast and I'm reaching into my psychological toolbox to motivate you over the hard spots. I like to give you data. I like to give you information, and hopefully that's what today will be for you, is some information based upon stuff you can find your own. Because my background is engineering and business. I have an MBA and electrical engineering degree. I like numbers. I like to know where the stuff's coming from. I don't like other people to tell me what it means. I like to go back and look to see what something means. Now, how many of us have social media? Most of us. We think that it's a necessity to be successful in business. Well, how many of you people have seen something like this? And they say, well, go ahead and do business. Go ahead and do your buy or sell your home because mortgage rates are at a near historic low and you want to be able to buy now. And, you know, back here it was way worse back in the bad old days of Jimmy Carter and Reagan when he took the reins to kind of reel in inflation. We don't want to be anywhere near this. In fact, at the top, I think, is about 18.5% interest. And that would be pretty terrible to have to live through 18.5% interest. I would agree. But in my mind, the further in the past we go, the less relevant those events are. Because when we talk about real estate, in particular financial markets, it's the last 30 days are more important than the last 60 days or 90 or 180 or a year or 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It becomes less and less relevant the farther back you go. So I want to look at this. That's where we were. I have picked a time frame just to go back to see how things have changed. And if I get this just right, I can get 3, 4. I want to go to 2005, January. Here we are at the start of January 2005. The interest rate, 30-year mortgage rates, were 5.77%. And if we go to today, or the closest thing to today we have, which is June 30th, because it's July 1, we see we're at 5.70. So we're essentially where we were in the start of 2005. And why do I say that? Because 2005 was the runner-up. We could see the writing on the wall. We could see that we were going to have some issues. In fact, Tennessee, I was working with the government back in these days, and we actually had created the Home Inspectors Act of 2005 because we could see some things going on, and we had an inkling that there were some toxic mortgages and some other bad policies, so we were looking to deal with it. Unfortunately, 2008 happened, and we had that bad recession. And how many of you have heard someone say, well, I'm going to wait till we see 2008 again and the market crap out, and I want to pick up a bargain? Well, the first argument I have for that is, well, honestly, what kind of economic conditions are you going to be in if the economy in our area gets so bad that we see something that looks like 2008? I think you probably won't be in a good position to be snapping a whole lot of anything up, but you might be. I don't know. But anyway, every universe in the grand creation is entitled to one 2005 or one 2008. We've already had ours, so they're not coming back. But let's go back to this picture right here. We know we're going to look at the last 5 years, and so let's do that. That's just a region that I want to look at. It's far enough back to be significant. Here we are. We see where our numbers are up here at the 5.70, and we looked at the beginning of 2005, we were at 5.77. So that's just the logic why we're looking at this range. We're going in the past, but not so far in the past as to be irrelevant. Now, this particular CPI is less food and energy in the average U.S. city. Now, if we bring in consumer foods and beverages, we see how much sharper it is. So we're seeing a pretty good increase in food. Well, let's take it one more step. What are we spending a lot in that wasn't reflected in that particular CPI? It's going to be fuels and utilities, because we all have to have energy. We all have to have power. Look how much sharper that is going. That's going from 240 to almost 300. So that's going to be running significantly higher when we look at utilities. In fact, I have another screen provided for you, prepared. Comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and look what it says is the big one in the middle. It's almost shooting us a bird, isn't it? Energy is running about 35% higher year over year. What about our trucks run up and down our highway? What it run our house? 35%. Are they telling us that our inflation is anywhere near 35? No. Well, our food, they say, is about 10%. It feels to me to be a little bit higher than that. And all items, they have it run up there about 8.5%, 9%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So what does this have to do? That means if our inflation is high, it's cutting into people's incomes, and eventually it could get into their credit cards and other things that can make mortgages difficult. Now, we know, looking at this, that we're pretty much the same interest rate today as we were at the start of 2005. Do you agree with that? Can we accept that? Which is, well, let's compare 2005. We're paying more for food and fuel than we have in 2005. We want to look at what the average income was. The median, I should say, not the average, was $58,000 in 2005. Well, our home prices, according to NAR, is about $208,000. Okay, $208,000 off of that salary. Now let's go look at where they were last fiscal year. Was 221. And it was almost $80,000. Median income for the household was almost $80,000. What was the cost of a house back in good old 2021? The median was, click, there we go, according to NAR, was $362,000. Well, it's a little less than $362,000. So what do these two numbers give us relative, considering we're having the same interest rate, same 30-year interest rate right now? We see that in 2005, we had almost 3.6 times, the house was almost 3.6 times our median income. Let's compare it to where we are last year. We are 4.5 times, a little over 4.5 times what the median income, household income was. So what does that mean? Well, quite honestly, to me, not being real estatery, but just being straight up using the numbers and the math, if you're looking to buy or sell, you need to get on the stick, okay? Because as inflation starts to eat away at our budgets, human beings will start running more on revolving credit. They'll get that wonky. Most of that is tied to the prime. And so that's going to come back and hit them hard. And we're going to start to see the house, not what they desire, but what they could actually qualify is going to start getting eaten away slowly by slowly. They can't buy it, and you can't sell it for that price. So it's going to affect both of us. So that kind of tells me that now is a darn good time to put your home on the market while there's still available people who can qualify to buy it before things get a lot worse. And if you looked at the news today, well, it's pretty disappointing. Well, it looks like we're going to have some challenges from here to go for the next couple of years dealing with inflation. So now really is a time to buy. That's not being real estatery. That's being practical, looking at the numbers. Now let's just go back to that final screen if I have one still. There it is. Yes, January 6th, 2005, we had an interest rate of 5.77, but we had almost another annual salary required to buy at the same interest rates that we have today. That's how much more expensive houses have become. And with energy on the rise, with these things on the rise, you better lock in now if you want to do the move. Let's get started. Let's return you to the conclusion of the show. Hello, I'm Dell Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel, Call Dell to Sell. That's one L in Dell, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. The week of 6/24, we had 12,895 opportunities in the Real Scout system. That was an increase over the previous period. We had 4,259 in the under contracts still showing. That's a decrease over the previous period, and the integer ratio between them changed to 33%. It's a decrease over the previous period, and that was a decrease of 3 percentage points. This week, July 1st, 2022, we have 13,201 in the opportunities. That actually increased over the previous period, and we have 4,145 in the under contract still showing. It's a decrease over the previous period, and the ratio at the integer level decreased by 2 percentage points to 31%. So you know what you got to do. You got to get on this. You need to call Dell to sell. You need to call Dell to buy. Let's get working. And always go to that website at calldelltosell.com.